Hi, everybody. Tim Hughes here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DLA Ignite. And today I've got with me Georgina Hallaby. And we're going to be talking about mental fitness for peak performance. So we're going to talk about how we can sabotage ourselves, all kinds of stuff like that. And Georgina has given me permission to call her George or any variant of the name Georgina. So, Georgie, where can people find you?
GeorginaHallaby.com on my website, very easy, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, all the usual places.
Excellent. So it's interesting because we're talking about mental fitness, but your background is in sales and marketing, isn't it?
It is about 25 years in sales and marketing technology specifically.
Right. And you've actually lived in Singapore for a long time, haven't you?
I was there for 18 years.
Wow.
And decided we were missing the bracing chill of England so much that we'd come back and live here. So we moved back about a year and a half ago.
Singapore for me is just such an amazing, interesting place. The way that you've got the road crossing, so that and you press the button and it goes red for the traffic, and everyone just walks because you just follow the rules.
You always follow the rules, to the extent that if you go to the food courts, which are the outside eating places, and you put down a packet of tissues on the table, it's called chopping it, nobody will come and sit there. It's like an honor system.
When my business partner Adam and I were there, people were putting their mobile phone. We'd walk into this area and there was all these mobile phones. We went, what? Won't they get stolen? And everyone kept saying, no, they won't get stolen.
If they get stolen, because I had my wallet stolen once, and they found that person within a week or two. And it was my fault for leaving it down. I was at the playground pushing my daughter, and the state prosecuted. I said, I really don't want to push charges. And they were like, no, we are going to prosecute. So you don't mess around. So it's a safe and easy place to live.
Mm. Yeah. So peak performance and mental fitness.
Yeah.
What is it that, give us an idea of what's going on in our heads and why we need to understand that? Because I don't know about you, I'm always trying to be the best person I can be.
Yeah.
So, and how can I be that every day? So what is it that's going on that's stopping us from performing?
Amazing. So maybe I can talk to you a bit about how the brain works. And it's not just about peak performance, it's about peak performance and well-being, because I kind of believe that most people think that you can only have one and not the other. And to me, it's important to have both. So to give you an understanding of how the brain works, the back of our brain is all about survival. So for the first 7 years of your life, you are literally downloading everything, all the information about yourself. This is pen, this is water, and this is me, or at least the definition of the me that I'm told. And we take that in from all of the caregivers, from society, from culture. And we take that in without questioning, along with all of the biases. And at that age, we don't want to believe that our parents are at fault or that they are flawed and doing the best they can, because our safety is predicated on them knowing everything. So if anything's wrong, it has to be with us. So sometimes the scripts that go into the back of our brain are very negative ones, like I'm not good enough, I'm wrong, my decisions are wrong, things that aren't necessarily true. And this back of the brain then becomes the programs that run our lives. Subconsciously, we're not even aware of it. And so we have this whole different mechanism that's wired to survival in our brain, where we respond from a place of playing safe, right? So we have different saboteurs in our brain. The first one is the judge. You'll be aware of it when you become aware of the inner critic.
Yep.
So the inner critic is always telling you, you're wrong, you're stupid, you're ugly.
You're not good enough.
Exactly, in whatever format that is. And the judge is also responsible for judging others, judging circumstance, and also the fear of judgment by others. And a lot of the stuff that we're thinking about is how to maintain status all of the time. And on top of the judge, which is the master saboteur, you've got this whole other list of characters. So some of these will be familiar. Victim, avoider, pleaser, hyperachiever, the stickler, which is the perfectionist, the pleaser, the restless. There's 10 of them, okay? And chances are I've named a few and you've gone, okay, I can really relate to that. And the idea of these saboteurs is they're trying to allow us to work in a way that will keep us safe and our head.
It's really about survival, isn't it? It's about
100% about survival. Whereas we have a different part of our brain, which is our prefrontal cortex. It comes online when we're about 12 years old, and it doesn't stop until we're about 21. So it's developing. And that pretty much explains teenagers to you, because their brain is being pretty much scrambled and rewired. And when we're in that part of our brain, our sage brain, that's the area that's responsible for perspective, creativity, curiosity, compassion, all of these amazing resourceful strengths. So the trick about being the hack, if you like, about maintaining peak performance and well-being is not operating from that part of your brain and being able to switch at will to this part of your brain.
Right.
When you're in that part of your brain, you're operating 100% with this view to being successful, but in a way that ensures long-term happiness, because you've got the perspective built in.
Yes. But if we're working on if we're working with the back of the part of the brain, I guess we're going to be saying we're not good enough and all of those things.
I'll give you a classic example. So one of my highest saboteurs was the hyperachiever, right? And I might believe as a hyperachiever, I need this because it keeps me motivated. It keeps me hitting all my targets. Now, I have real strengths, right? All of the saboteurs work on our strengths. So the ones of hyperachievers tend to be inner directed, highly motivated, get things done. But you put the hyper on top of it, and there is the anxiety, constant anxiety.
Yep.
So, for example, I'll hit a milestone, and instead of going, "Oh, that's brilliant, I've done it," pat on the back, well done, instead of looking at the view halfway up the mountain and looking at how far I've gone, how far I've come, I've got about 30 seconds of happiness, and I'm looking up the rest of the mountain and going, okay, I've got to get up there now. And it's exhausting. You know, all of these saboteurs are really, really exhausting. And it's not a way of working smart. It's not a way of working in flow. When you're in flow, you're actually here, you know, this part of your brain. You're alert, you're aware, you're able to respond to whatever life throws at you, but from a space of presence, from a space of resourcefulness. Right.
We've had a question from Winfred. Saying, do you recommend any books on this topic?
Yeah, I would go straight to the source. So the framework on mental fitness is positive intelligence, and the book by Shirzad Chamine is all about this. It's all about your saboteurs and about the ability to switch from that part of your brain to this part of your brain. And that's the what I want to share with you today.
Yes, so that was my next question. How do we do that? Because
okay, so it's really easy, and it's an age-old classic technique. And the idea is that we're allowing ourselves to do it in the moment in just seconds. So the premise is this: your mind exists on one of three planes. It's either thinking of the future, you know, with all of the what if scenarios, and that's all fiction, and all the have tos, that's just fiction at the moment, or it's stuck in the past on a loop, replaying, and that's fiction too, because
I should have done this, I should have done that,
all the regrets, all of the replays, but that's also not happening. It's in our mind.
Yep.
And that takes us away from being present, which is the other place where our mind can inhabit, but it rarely does, especially when we're so myopic with work or with our phones, right? So when we're in nature, when we're doing yoga, when we're doing mindfulness or meditation, or even stubbing your toe, right? You are in the present, you're embodied, and your body only exists in one plane, and that's now, right?
It's there's a saying, isn't it, that treading on Lego is the place where you feel the most present.
That's amazing. I've never heard of that. It's kind of like a reflexology technique they use in Asia. You go on these stepping stone paths, and it's there's literally no thinking about your tea when you're on there. Go ow. So your body is the vehicle with which we use to move from this part of the brain to this part of the brain. And I'm happy to give you an example, and to give all of your everybody watching an example. We're going to do this live. Are you ready to move from this part to this part?
Absolutely. I've done yoga on here. I've done stand-up comedy. So you know, go ahead.
I love that. So it's like micro yoga. Okay. So we're going to do two techniques. So the first technique I'm going to show you is visual. Okay. So we're going to use the body. So all of the senses, we've got sight, sound, touch, taste, smell, and then breath. All of these things are the different facets of our body. So we're going to use sight first of all. So everyone looking, what I want you to do is just look at both hands. That's all you're doing. You're looking at the movements of both hands. Okay, ready? Go. Stop. All right. So tell me about the quality of your mind, Tim, as you're looking at that.
Well, you were opening your hands up, so I was having to. You said look at, but I was sort of like looking.
So you're concentrating on looking on both hands.
Yes.
Were you thinking about, all of your have tos?
No, I was concentrating on the hands.
Okay, so you were present and you were focused.
Yes.
And how did that feel?
Well, it actually feels quite comforting.
Yeah.
Because because you're so focused on that, and I'm a person that I can really focus, and in a way it's a comforting feeling because you're not got all these other things. And I've deliberately, when I come on here, I deliberately switch off and turn my phone up, and so all I'm doing is concentrating on you. I haven't got Slack going or email going or anything like that. So it was straight into the moment.
Yeah, and it's comforting. It's very calming. And if anything happens, if I was to jump out at you like then you'd be able to respond because you're in the now.
Yes.
So I'll give you another technique because you can't always do that. Say if you're in a back-to-back meetings, here's another one that you could do under the table. So take your thumb and your forefinger, and you're going to rub them together, but with such delicate attention that you're going to be feeling the fingertip ridges on both fingers.
I'm actually closing my eyes because my eyes are trying to find something to look at.
Yeah.
Isn't it strange how the body immediately tries to distract you?
Yeah. It's true. So now you're becoming aware of what your attention is being pulled towards, which is another form of presence.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you could do this with anything. A really easy one is what can I hear really far away, and then what can I hear really close up. And then when you do the close up, listen to your breath, because the breath is another fascinating one, and it's there for a reason that people teach children when you're panicky, just breathe, because it's so intimately related with your physiology, right? When you're stressed, when you're having a panic attack, it's all upper breath. It's trying to get that breath in, and when you relax, it's like a sigh.
So we'll come back to the breath. Go back to the listening bit because I'm slow and I needed to catch up. And so talk me through again. So I'm standing at the top of our house. We've got a townhouse. Standing at the top of our house, and I can hear things. So I'm switching from going from distant to close.
Yeah, essentially what you're doing. You're anchoring into your body using one of your senses. So you're using your sense of hearing. What can I hear? And you might spend, 30 seconds. What can I hear in the far distance?
Yes.
And you're concentrating.
Yeah. So it might be I live in West London, so it might be a train or
a fire engine or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what can I hear? So you're going from gross attention to more subtle attention.
Right. To a
can I hear nearby? Yeah. And so that could be your breath. What can I hear my own breath?
Okay, the breath, yes.
So you're listening, you're choosing one modality. Can I hear my breath? So that's another way. You can use anything, any one of your senses. I love doing what can I taste? You know how you're meant to have 5 different taste buds on your tongue? Not taste buds, but facilities. So salty, sour, all the rest of it. Sometimes I just anchor in. I'm like, which one can I taste? Where is it?
This is a really good reason to eat salted caramel ice cream then, isn't it?
I don't think you need a really good reason.
You don't actually know.
Yeah. That's a form of meditation in itself. Yeah.
I think salted caramel ice cream is a form of meditation, yes.
Yeah. But you can't be thinking about eating a chocolate sundae while you're eating the salted caramel.
I think we joke, but thinking about it, I'm a big ice cream fan, and it's actually it passed down through it's an internal family joke that we have an ice cream gene, and I have that. Got it off my father. But it is, if you're eating salted caramel, you are, there could be a fight. You know, I've sat in playgrounds. There might be a fight going on, and I'm just eating the ice cream in the present moment.
Yeah. And you know what else is funny, Tim? So as you think about salted caramel ice cream, what do you notice is happening in your body?
Oh, I just get any ice cream, but salted caramel. I will always get a feeling of well-being.
But do you taste at the moment? Is your mouth watering?
Yes, it is. Yes.
So the
And I'm
idea
just about to drink. I'm just about to have a drink a cup of tea.
Yeah. Yeah. So your mind doesn't actually know the difference between what you tell it and what's out there. You tell it,
Right.
I'm eating salted caramel. Your imagination is always stronger than the will,
Mm.
which is why mental fitness is so important, because you're focusing on the positives, right? Because you're working from this part of your mind as opposed to the problems. When your mind is always in the saboteur mind, it's always trying to navigate and control problems. And what do you get if you're thinking of problems all the time? More problems, because that's all the mind.
And it just takes so much effort
Yeah.
to think about those things. I mean, you're just burning up time and stuff, and it's just so inefficient.
Yeah, it's exhausting because it's a strategy of resistance. It's resisting everything that could possibly happen, mind sweeping and resisting, as opposed to when you're in sage mind, you're flowing with, you're adapting, and when you're able to do that, you can see opportunities as they arise, and you're able to act with it. It's a very powerful state of mind. And so tying this back into the performance and well-being, when you're in flow, when you're in that part of your mind, you just feel good. You feel good because you're in control, you're calm, and you're on it. Oh, ice
cream is my meditation from now on. I'm me. I'm me.
And it works with smell, it works with taste, and then of course you've got the texture, the cold, holding it. So many levels.
Yeah. But I do like the idea of the sounds and because it does bring you into the present. And
and I'm a lifelong meditator, and I can have my time on the mat, and I get in with my teenagers and I lose my rag. 8 o'clock at night, my charge is low. I'm like, ah. Whereas with this, you can do it throughout the day. It's like constantly topping up. And if I'm being triggered, I can do that. And instead of going from mum to Hulk, I can go into my sage mind, and I'm like, okay, let me see what her need is that she's trying to sort of communicate with me. And I don't come in. Often what happens is one saboteur, you get this in sales, right? One saboteur comes in, the other person replies in saboteur mode, right? Or teenagers, anything. You turn up in sage and it just unwinds. It's just this really beautiful.
Wasn't it the Hulk that said, wasn't it in one of the films that he said, do you know how I stay as normal? And he says, because I'm angry all the time, or something like that, wasn't it? I'm sure one of my people will audience will basically tell me if I'm right or wrong. So but it's about keeping that level and keeping yourself in the present, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Because if we're in all the scenarios, we're more likely to hulk out. If we feel like we're being attacked, we're more likely to hulk out.
So I've written at the bottom of the page of my notes, positive intelligence, and I don't know why I've written it.
So positive intelligence.
There must be something that you've said to me, and that's really important.
Yeah, it is really important. So positive intelligence is the international movement that have brought mental fitness, and so they all of this is their framework. So they basically use the latest 20 years worth of developments in neuroscience, cognitive behavioral therapy, positive psychology, and peak performance like sports science. And then on top of that, they've done their own research across 52 countries with top athletes, students at Stanford, and CEOs across Fortune 500 businesses. And so they're the ones that have developed the framework of the 10 saboteurs and the mental fitness. And it's 3 muscles. They're about training 3 core muscles: saboteur, interceptor. So here's the thing. This is the one thing to remember if you're going to come out of this, okay? How to put this together as an operating system, which positive intelligence have brought. So if you notice you're being triggered, you're experiencing negative thoughts, stop, you're in saboteur mode. So that's the first muscle, saboteur, interceptor. Do some PQ reps. They call these PQ reps because it's like mental fitness, going to the gym, and PQ is your positive intelligence quotient. It's your ability to respond with a positive rather than a negative mindset, minus the stress, right? So you do your PQ reps. That's your second muscle, self-command. And then the third muscle is your sage mind, your prefrontal cortex, and being able to operate from that space. using whatever superpower it has available: curiosity, empathy, perspective, and so forth. So that's the operating system from Positive Intelligence.
Wow. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. This has been fun.
It has been fun. It has been a lot of fun. And we've got a load of people diving in and talking. And we've proved that ice cream is one of the best things in the world. So that for me is self-satisfying.
I feel the need now, Tim, to go and eat salted caramel.
Salted, yeah. We're all going to go out and eat salted caramel. It's an order. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Georgie, thank you so much for coming on. It's been great fun. And we've had some great interaction. Thank you so much. Remind people where they can get hold of you.
So come find me at georginahallaby.com. I offer just a 30-minute chat if you want to, or a 90-minute coaching session if you want to try it out and learn more about mental fitness for yourself. So
and we can book that on your website, can't we?
Yeah, it's very easy. It will come straight.
georginahallaby.com.
That's the one.
Okay. And you are on LinkedIn as well. And
I am.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing that. It's been an awful lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. And keep in touch.
Thank you, Tim. This has been great.